Introduce him as Apollo and P.
That is good, man.
A little more info on that.
For sure. They got a cute ass dog right here in the back. It's distracting. It's,
Yeah.
Don't take him.
He's gone.
He's out.
He's out. Back to you, Pondo. What made you get inspired into the music industry? What made you decide to go into that?
There's no particular one reason. It started out more so on the DJ front. Me being pissed off at like parties about the music. No matter what function I was at or anything, it felt like everybody was at, like, the mood wasn't the way it could have been.
Yeah.
And so I felt like an anomaly in that sense. Being out of Denver, I was like, nobody really like is gigging the way they should be. Instantly was hunting down the aux. Sometimes there's a kid that's like playing some dumb shit and like he won't give it up. Yeah. But eventually we would infiltrate, just play shit that was like from a lot different decades, 60s, like rock, and getting weird with it for sure. But then it was stuff like that was super dancey, and I was just always into like the beats and the rhythms of shit. I'm emotionally connected to that shit in some sort of way.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that because for a lot of people, music, when it touches them like that or infiltrates them like that, it's usually because you're more in tune with your emotional side. Would you say you're a little more...
I was able to channel like sonics. I do enjoy lyrics and things like that, but I'm completely a rhythm and sonics person. That stuff was the emotion of it. So yeah, it made me think about like
it just makes you
mistakes you've made or things you're proud of, or just whether sometimes it wasn't always deep shit. Mm-hmm. It was just making me feel like just good. Yeah, just happy.
So are you more into electronic as well, like in a way, like above and beyond?
It changes. Yeah, it changes a lot. House pretty much is what a lot of my stuff comes out of.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of chill step?
No.
It's like a little bit of...
Is it like chill house?
In a way, yeah. In a way, with a little bit of a philosophy being spoken by Alan Watts. When did you make your first song? Like, what made you start, investing into it? Because for a lot of people, it's a lot of money. I mean, the equipment, the effort, the time, because you got to learn a lot. It's not just, I'm sure as you well know, it's not something you just pick up and start mixing beats.
Right. No, so, it was with the DJ stuff, learning my deck, my first music software, but like surface level stuff. Once I got good at DJing and shit, it was like for up there when I'm going back to like how I did feel like an anomaly. We had like a house of 5 people. We got in trouble. We got like on probation, so we had to like space it out. Fleetwood Mac, playing like Hendrix, playing a lot of like Culture Club, like 80s new wave, playing. Of course, 90s hip hop, like 2000, like Gwen Stefani, and shit like that. It was always a euphoric vibe, like, and it was a cycle of, just substance, lust. When we went to other states and shit, like just to hang out with friends we knew or whatever, and whenever we stepped up and control the music and have the deck, what was in our mind and what was cool to us and to them, and it was so instant that we could see the whole room shift and people were like dancing like trancey. It wasn't like casual grinding and dancing and beer games and whatever. It looked like people were on drugs, even though they weren't. Some fuck, bro, like, this is interesting. My friends wanted to start making music. I went to school primarily for parental, like, expectation. I'm happy I went, and it's like, you're going to finish in 4 years, and this and that. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do this. It was just a necessity, but it wasn't my primary focus. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. My friends were, like, wanting to record, and then since I was in school, I was doing, like, computer engineering and IT. And so I was, like, nerding out on the software side of everything. Nerding out entirely on like audio engineering. Had friends that were trying to do like mumble rap, and then I had friends that were into like screamo, like Lil Peep, like that maybe like 2016, like SoundCloud driven type shit. But then it was like I was working with girls who were vocals like Taylor Swift structure type songs where they were entirely different from those people. So it was like a big range. Little did I know that it would come like in handy for my own shit, learning how to harmonize and learning, because honestly I don't even fuck with like my singing voice. I'm not a vocalist. We had the privilege of having Ernest on the other day, and he actually showed us one of your songs, and I was like, is that Pondo? That doesn't sound like Pondo. He's like, yeah, that's him. He's really good at tweaking the voice now. It sounds like
I'm like, holy shit. That
For
sounds
real.
completely different. Like, good shit.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Like, they don't really know what genre it necessarily is, and that's was like the most encouraging thing. Whether they said it was bad or good, the fact that they were like, bro, I don't even know what the fuck, like, you're like, what that is, that was encouraging, man. And then I started nerding out on like songwriting and song structure and listening to a lot of pop. That was the stuff my mom was always like into. And so learning that structure mixed with that software shit, combining it, it was like, that's how it kind of formed for sure. And then a mix of all the shenanigans that were like there.
So, when was the first time, I guess, that you produced the first song that you started showing everyone? Around what time?
Not to be like cliche or some shit, but like it was one of the times that I was like tripping, and then I went, like it's a very cliche story. I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting and the sun was like setting, just listening to this one song for like 2 hours, and it's by this dude Toro Imoy, and it's called You and I. It was the clarity that I needed. It was like the direction. Right after that, I went and made this song Thrill, like the first one. That was 2018. I have been very patient. To me, even though it started back then, now feels like the more beginning, because now I feel like it's the ground level. It's been crafting since.
Do you see it being your career, in a sense, for the rest of your life?
You know, you probably would want to have an income off your creative ventures. Like, for me, that would be, I think what I would consider like success, being in like a technical field for work. I needed to like have that income to invest into this. I've thrown money on stupid shit for this, but then I've thrown money on stuff that actually has helped me. So I've considered like, you know, the end of the 9 to 5 for me. It's easy for this to be my primary focus.
Has there been any mentorship or any books that kind of got you to this mindset?
Just infatuated with getting better sonically. I'll spend hours. The close relationships I have, they already know my studio sessions aren't going to be like the ones where they're going to come in and fucking have a great time. They're sitting there and they're listening to me like listening to a 3-word loop I'm trying to get right for an hour. You could tell they're just like, what the fuck? Like, bro, it sounds good. What are you doing? Back to the like inspiration, it's movies and other music for the most part. Blood Orange, there's this guy named Dev Hines who does a lot of more indie stuff. Yeah. His composing's absolutely fucking fire. What really intrigues me more than anybody in art is like these guys who are Gary Newman was in the 80s, and like there was these guys who sounded like their songs sounded like a whole band, right? Yeah. But it's just one guy. Guys would tour with a band. They would need it, right? Because their songs had so much aspects to them. But one guy was digitally making all this stuff. I'm not even a producer quite yet. I'm pretty amateur with it. Right now I just source out producers and like record on theirs, but it's those kind of people intrigue me and inspire me the most, because it's like you realize the power you can have just all by yourself.
Any album that really touched you? Like you like a lot of the old school stuff, like Pink Floyd or anything like that?
Frank Ocean Blonde was like fucking. I want to get like, I'm gonna get that tatted. He's just so like vulnerable, and sonically, like, and I personally think the best. The harmonies he's using, the layers he's using, that kind of stuff. Like, I was listening to it deeper than just how, his voice is so good. It was more like, oh fuck, bro, like literally the way it's flowing all together is so beautiful. So like him, Tame Impala, Currents, Red Hot Chili Peppers is like my favorite band. So like Stadium Arcadium, fucking hit. Straight 90s shit is fire too. I'm forgetting like probably my biggest influence, at least in my music now, which is Daft Punk. So Discovery by Daft Punk. When I put my songs on, I throw in a Daft Punk like on your screen when you have your file loaded, and I feel like I've had my finished product. I throw like a Daft Punk song on the top of it, and I go back and forth. And it's a sad feeling, bro. Yeah. Because you're like, damn, I'm not as good as they are yet.
Not yet, anyway.
And it's frustrating.
Would you say when you're in your high, it's like ecstasy, and when you're in your low, it's disparity? Or is it more like, is that just for your music, or is that for emotionally? How you feel about everything?
For me personally, my highs are really high and my lows feel really low. I feel those feelings so intense. I will be the most, extroverted. I can be loud, brash, not give a fuck. When there's the low of me, bro, like it's like several days of like me not wanting to like talk to anybody, realizing like, I think everybody has insecurity.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes people longer, or they just never dig deeper to figure out what those like insecurities really are. There's like hoops that traditionally people go through, so you like, meaning like your checkpoints. For sure it was a battle for a while, like doubting if this was the right thing to pursue, if this was a complete waste of time. What are you what's the end goal? Do you even know what the end goal is? What does that even mean? As long as I feel free, like able to express, there's a channel for me that I've naturally drifted into. It's the best way, I think, productive wise, to get escape from myself.
You're doing it more not for any of it, like the clout or any of that, what your friends would say you're gonna get big, but more to make people feel.
To give people the chance, I wouldn't even word it to make them, but just to like give them the chance of, through Sonics, naturally my music has that nostalgic feeling to it that would, I hope, make people either look deeper into themselves or just diversify them. People aren't gonna fucking dig that deep into music sometimes, and some people, music is just there for entertainment, and I completely understand. For everybody, there's a certain thing they've heard where it made them feel different, and like, for me, that's, what else can you hope for with somebody?
Yeah. The one song that whenever you were down, or whenever you were low, or whenever you just wanted to feel, really stayed with you, would you say it was Frank Ocean?
Frank Ocean and Kid Cudi. People have to look at things so binary, this Modelo, fuck. Like binary thing, people have to feel like they have to pick one side or the other. Yeah. And if you like something, then you can't like that other thing. There's really not that middle ground. It's like seeing how quickly, no matter who you are, how things can get toxic real fast, or like whether that be like lust, substances, habits, and those are like some of the hardest things for people to escape, no matter where you come from. So those kind of things, I think, are the most like relatable.
That being said, bro, I want to say thank you for coming on, and we're looking forward. I don't know if you want to put out your tags or your handles.
Just search up Apollo MP on everything. The time is right, so I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.